You may be seated.
Wednesday night after our rehearsal, the song we're fixing to do, we went over it for the first time, and I shared with Alan after the rehearsal that it took me back to a couple of years ago when my wife was diagnosed with cancer, and how, unfortunately, our church has gone through that a lot. And in fact, some of y'all that are here this morning are going through that journey. And so, but it took me back to that time when we first got that diagnosis and just the overwhelming feeling of fear and just the layers of emotion that I felt of fear for myself, fear for my kids, fear for my wife. I have to go through surgeries, just different things I had no control over. But I went back to the scripture immediately, I remember, in Daniel chapter 3, and that's what we're going to be singing about this morning. God is able. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And what struck me with the story, as far as what I'm talking about, is not so much that there was a fourth man in the fire, that they were pulled out, that their clothes didn't smell like smoke, and this miracle took place. It was back a little bit, verse 17 and verse 18, when Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were brought before Nebuchadnezzar, and the confidence that they had, if they stood there in front of that king and said, listen, we understand what's happening. We understand what's going on. And we understand this is going to cost our lives. But we're not going to bow down. And they said, look, our God is able. He could. And what always amazed me was they were so polite to the king in the scripture. You know, that your majesty, may you reign forever. They said, and then they said, well, we're not going to do what you're telling us to do. But they said, he is able to save us. He is able to rescue us from your hand. Then verse 18, which is a scripture that I had to pray that God could give me the confidence to be able to say this in my own life, in my own situation, was, but God, even if you don't, I'm still not going to bow. And so it's one thing to read that. It's a totally different thing to apply it in your life. And so what I've learned, and just that we're so quick to get out of the fire. We're so quick to something hurts to get away from it. And what I've learned is that God is teaching us, even in those moments, there's purpose in the pain. There's purpose in the fire. That God is molding us. He's making us. His hammer, his forge, is hammering us and molding us into that person, the character, the integrity that only he can do. So don't be in such a rush to get out of the fire, because God is able. God is able. God is able to deliver from the fire. He will rescue those who serve him when the flames are burning higher. And God is able, and God is able to deliver from the fire. He will rescue those who serve him when the flames are burning higher. The decree came down to all the land, to the people in the king's command. Bow down to the dusty ground when they heard the trumpet sound. But the children of God refused to kneel. They defied the king with a fiery zeal. They were thrown in the flame that day. But you could hear the children say, God is able. God is able to deliver from the fire. He will rescue those who serve him when the flames are burning higher. Don't you know that some things never change, and the fiery trials are still the same? The
the saints of God is face to face, but you can stand above the rest. Take courage, friend, and walk on through. The Lord will face the fire with you. Stand with the saints and say, my God will provide a way. God is able. God is able.